This speaker has been recorded at an online meeting of Addictive Eaters Anonymous. You can email us at contact@aeainfo.org.
My name is Cara and I'm an addictive eater. And it's lovely to be here on a Friday evening. Who would have thought that coming to a meeting of Addictive Eaters Anonymous would be something that I looked forward to? Yeah, what was it like for me? Well, since I was a small child, I loved food. I really loved food. Early memories of just wanting more, and a few instances like popped to mind of my mum told me a story recently about being in a restaurant with her when I was very young, before I could really speak, and pointing at somebody else who had like a whole fish on their table and saying that's what I wanted. Just my eyes being bigger than my stomach. And another story as well of being at a friend's house and getting emotional and upset, and them phoning my mum like, what do we do with Cara? She's so upset, we've not seen her like this. And being asked, friend being asked like, when was the last time she ate? Oh, a few hours ago now. Give her a banana and she'll be fine. And I was fine, just needed food. So I think before I even understood that real, like, being aware of that desire for food, it was I used it to feel better. Throughout my childhood, my sister used to call me the human dustbin because I would finish off everything on her plate. And just looking forward to getting home from school and getting into the freezer and working out what I was going to eat, which cake I could find, frozen cake I could find, sometimes bothering to defrost it, other times not, or other times eating a piece of frozen cake whilst defrosting something else, and eating things out the freezer because no one would notice. My mum and dad wouldn't notice that the food had gone missing. And I suppose then a little bit later on, I became kind of aware of how I looked and my weight. And kind of as a young teenager, end of primary school, start of high school, and just that started the obsession of believing that I was fat and that I needed to lose weight, and looking at other people and wishing if only I looked like that. And having that desire of really wanting to know, when I grow up, what will I look like, but it'll be different. And I thought I had it sorted at one point when I was early teenage years, of being able to have my packed lunch and walk down the street for lunch, and also to be able to buy some things from a bakery and being able to eat those things from a bakery, and then having my packed lunch too, but kind of in secret, so my friends didn't find out I wasn't cool for having my packed lunch. And being able to eat double the amount, and it was like the skinniest I was as a teenager. Yeah, and then, you know, things changed because I started to put on weight around the time I started using other substances as well. You know, the drinking, the drug taking, the many different boyfriends over time. And yeah, when I left, but still not being able to do anything to, I suppose, control the eating. And then when I left and went to uni, that's when I kind of had free roam of the kitchen. There was no hiding anything from anyone. My eating, my eating was still, like, to people on the outside, looked probably quite normal. But yeah, it was just the focus. Like, I could get out of bed to go to the supermarket at uni and to find all the deals, but I wouldn't get out of bed to go to a lecture. You know, that was the priority. And then, yeah, it's suppose kind of a couple of years on from that, I suppose the vicious cycle started of the starving myself and not eating, and realizing that worked, and I could live off cigarettes and coffee instead. And like, you know, the use of exercise, that I could, exercise enough, I would just continue to lose weight, and feel fantastic. Except the emotional instability, and that those times were even more than they normally were. And then something would change, or it wouldn't, and I would be in a cycle of kind of binge eating. And at the start, that cycle wasn't that clear, but just as the years rolled on, you know, that pendulum, the swing from one to the other, just got more and more extreme. And food stopped being fun. It stopped being something I wanted to share with people. And the feelings that kind of were growing inside me, like, I just didn't, as other people grew up kind of around me and got proper jobs, I was living a life of flitting from one thing to another. And, you know, in the big books, you know, it says, you know, discontent, irritable. And, you know, those were the feelings that I was feeling inside. But on the outside, everything was fabulous. There was that double life going on with how I was feeling and with the food. And I had no idea that those two things were related. I had no idea that the way I was acting with food and other substances was related to my feelings on the inside. And I was kind of in denial about those feelings on the inside too, for a long time, and blamed other people. You know, if you had the family that I had and the situation I was in, then you would be using X, Y, and Z, and, you know, you would deserve a treat like me, and, you know, just all of that rubbish. And just thank God that I couldn't stop in the end. I couldn't stop eating, and all of the ways I tried to control my weight weren't working. Tried therapy, try to copy people and what they ate. Would just, particularly with boyfriends, find someone that I thought looked and had control over their food. I'll just do that. But nothing worked for any length of time. And even when I thought things were pretty good, like that obsession about the food and the weight was still there. And yeah, it left me on my own. Finding it hard to get out of bed, not being able to turn up consistently at work, making excuses, just feeling lost and alone, and so ashamed of what I was doing, how I was behaving with food. And I could see that it was affecting others as well, starting to affect the people around me because I couldn't hide it anymore. And it was when I couldn't hide it, my family suggested that I do something else to try and get help. And thank God that the doctors said they couldn't help because I was a normal weight, because that brought me to the AEA. Came through the charity beat, found the website, suggested have a look, and got in contact. And I first read on the website that in AEA, sobriety is from all mind altering substances and behaviors, and that addiction swaps from one thing to another. And it just like clicked. I was like, that's me. That is me. When I stopped doing the smoking and the drinking, like the food gets worse, or likewise, and I stopped drinking coffee, or I could just see it clearly. And made a phone call and spoke to a lady who's here this evening, and she just said to me, that she's come to learn that her eating and the way she ate was just a symptom of the disease of addiction. And it was the fear and the anxiety about doing life that made her turn to food and other substances to feel better and to get through life. And I could really identify with that. And she suggested buying the big book and coming to a meeting. And that's what I did. And in the meeting, I heard about people who did the crazy things that I did with food. And even crazier things than what I'd done. But they were sharing that they weren't doing it anymore. And there was one lady I remember looking at, and I remember I just thought she looked like an angel. So light and full of life, and everyone seemed relaxed. And I came off that meeting with hope for the first time in a long time, that maybe I, maybe there is actually a solution. Maybe I wouldn't do. Maybe I could stop too. And I wasn't alone. I was not alone. There were other people just like me. And since that meeting, I just kept coming to meetings and heard about what other people were doing to get well. Coming to meetings and then phoning other members and hearing about their story, asking them about what it was like for them. And I got to speak to those members, and it was suggested to me to get a sponsor and ask someone to be my sponsor. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but what I know now is that someone who's walked the path before and is willing to share their experience with me, and she's helped me and continues to do so to go through the steps of this program. Just as I've gone through the steps, it's not always been easy, but life has just got better and better. And today, food isn't a problem. Like, it is a miracle that today I don't wake up thinking about food or obsessing about what I'm going to eat or my weight. It's been taken away. And I know that I wasn't able to do that. I tried and I couldn't do that. But through coming here and just following the simple steps, and by saying, I can't do it, asking someone to help me, and then, coming to believe that because I can't do it, there is a power that can. So just for today, I can follow what's suggested to do in this program and live a sober life. And, it's not just the food that has improved. Well, food's not improved, it's just completely different. But, my relationships with people, places and things have improved too. And the big one is, like, I have my dad back in my life today. And that was a relationship that I thought I'd completely destroyed. But I've come to see, by being here, my part in things, and start taking responsibility for my life and my actions. And I'm taught here how to live without using all of those things to numb myself out from, I was going to say, the troubles of life, but just, living. So I'll just keep coming back. By the grace of God, just keep coming back and just try and do my best for today. And that's all I have to do. So Trina, thank you so much for asking me to share, and I'll leave it there.